All right, let's move into our second part of shapes. So next is called composite figures. So I'll let you write this down. Composite figures, when you compose something, you're putting more than one thing together. So composite figures are multiple shapes put together or kind of subtracted. So how can you find the areas of composite figures? So today it's going to be super important that you have your formulas from the last lesson ready. We're going to need to have these formulas ready for today's lesson. So I'm going to take mine out and just have them ready to go. Okay, so I'm going to find mine. Excuse me, and have those ready to go. So let me put this back here for you. I have all of my common formulas ready so that way we can access them. So how can you find the areas of composite figures? So again, let's talk about composite. Composite means to lots of things put together, basically. So composite figures is putting lots of shapes together. Okay. So you're going to be finding the area of composite figures, and that's just when lots of shapes have been put together to make a more complicated looking image. So we'll start with some more basic ones, and then we'll work our way up. So example, here's an example of a composite figure. So that's a composite figure. You can see that that is a square with half of a circle involved. So if they said that this was 4 feet, and they asked me to find the area of what's in the yellow or the shaded, sometimes they give that to you. So if I needed to find that area, I'm composing two figures together. So this is what I like to do. So the first thing I like to do is I like to piece it together. So let's write like step 1, piece the shapes together. Piece shapes together or apart. Okay, sometimes it's apart. So I'm going to, using my my marker, I'm going to say, okay, I can piece together that that is a square plus that is half of a circle. Okay. Now step 2 is find the areas. Step 2, find each shape's area. Okay. So in this case, I need to find the area of the square, and then I need to find the area of the half circle. So we know that the area of a square is the length squared. So that's going to be 4 squared. 4 times 4 is 16. So that area is 16 feet squared. I already found one of the areas. So I already know the orange. Okay. I know that that is 16 feet squared. So now all I have left to do is find half of the circle. Okay. So, crud, it didn't tell me anything about the circle. So I have to be able to problem solve and use what I can see to deduce or to be able to infer what this length is. Well, let's think. In a square, if this is 4 feet and this is 4 feet, then this line here is also 4 feet. So if I draw that little half circle here, that is 4 feet. All the way across the circle is called the diameter. So if the diameter is 4 feet, because it's all the way across the circle, the radius is half of that. It's 2 feet. So if the diameter is 4 feet, the radius is half of that, which is 2 feet. Well, sweet. Now I know what to do from there because I know how to find the area of a circle. Okay. The area of a circle is pi times the radius squared. So using what we know we want to use 3.14 for pi. When we know multiply it by the radius, the whole thing was 4, so half of it is 2 squared. Okay, I need to follow order of operations and do the exponents first. 2 times 2 is 4. 3.14 times 4. The number with more digits goes on top. Line up the last digit. 4 times 4 is 16. 4 times 1 is 4 plus 1 is 5. 4 times 3 is 12. I need to move my decimal. 1 times 2 times no times. 12.56. So the area of the circle was 12.56. And then it would be feet Well, this is, yep, feet squared because it's two-dimensional. Now, I'm not done, because is that a whole circle? No, I only needed half the circle. So to find half of a circle, I just divide 12.56 by 2. 12.56 divided by 2. 2 does not go into 1, put a 0 above it. 2 goes into 12 6 times. Bring up this, bring down the 5. 2 goes into 5 2 times. 2 times 2 is 4. 1 left over, bring down the 6. 2 goes into 16 8 times, no leftovers. So this half, the area of this half circle, so this was the square, the area of the half circle was 6.28 feet squared. This is crazy. This is a lot of information, but it's all stuff we should be able to do. So now my step 3 way down here, now that I have found, so I took this image, I split it into a square and a half circle. I found each area's shape. I know that this square is 4 times 4 is 16 feet squared. And I know that the area of the half circle is pi times radius squared. Plug in pi for plug in 3.1 for pi. The radius is 2 because the diameter was 4. I got 12.56 for the whole area of the circle, but I only needed half the area of the circle, so I just cut that number in half and got 6.28. So now to find the yellow, to find the whole area, I need to add them together. Add the area together. When I add decimals, I line up the decimals, 16.00, because it was just 16, so I can add that. Okay, 6.28, so I get an 8, a 2, I bring it down. 6 plus 6 is 12, carry the 1, 22.28, and then I use my units, feet squared. Voila! Okay, that's how I found that composite figure. So in composite figures, it's not delivered to you. You have to use creativity and you have to use problem solving to be able to piece together what you need to know about each shape. So again, for this problem, I pieced together that it was a square with half of a circle attached. Then I had to piece together that if that is 4, that also means the diameter is 4, which means that the radius is 2. Then I had to know to find half the circle by just dividing my area of my circle by 2. It's a lot of problem solving you have to use for composite figures, but I know you can do it. Let's do another one. I'm just going to do a bunch of examples because this is just more examples. It's not really step by step because you have to kind of be able to piece things together, okay? Let's do another example of building up a composite figure, okay? Let's do this. Okay. Let me just make it look nice. Okay. Okay, so step 1, if we look back at our notes, step 1 is piece the shape into 2 different shapes. If I'm finding the area of this yellow, I need to piece this into shapes that I know. So I'm going to use this pink and draw a line. I see right here that I can cut this into a rectangle. Up top, see here, rectangle, plus a trapezoid. So I can piece together because I know the area of both of these. So I'm going to add these 2 together to make this shape. All right, let's get to work. So this is 3, and that is 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, and this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And we always use units if they don't give us units. And then I also need to know this height here to find the area of a trapezoid, which is 1, 2, 3. Okay, so the area of a rectangle is length times width. So 3 times 4 is 12 units squared. So the area of that rectangle we already found out. 3 times 4 is 12 units squared, length times width. Area of a trapezoid, however, we're going to do down here because it's a little more room. Base 1, uh-oh, we don't have a base 1, it doesn't tell me. I have to piece together that if that is 4, that is also 4 because it is the bottom of that shape, because it is a rectangle. The top and the bottom have to be the same. Aha! So the area of a trapezoid is base 1 plus base 2 times the height, not the slant height, but the height that's perpendicular to the ground, divided by 2. Okay, 4 plus 9 is 13. 13 times 3 is 39. 39 divided by 2. 2 goes into 3 one time. 2 goes into 19 9 times. 2 times 9 is 18. 1 left over. Add a decimal, add a decimal, add a 0. 2 goes into 10 5 times. So that is 19.5 units squared. Okay, so I found the area of the rectangle, 3 times 4. Found the area of the trapezoid, base 1 plus base 2 times the height divided by 2. So now, to find the yellow, I am adding these two numbers together. Whenever I add, I line up the decimal. 12.00 because it doesn't have any numbers there. 19.50, 0, 5, 9 plus 2 is 11. 32.50, or I could just say 32.5, and then I put my units squared because it's two-dimensional. Okay, give you some time to pause if you need to look at that. So in that composite figure, it was composed of a rectangle and a trapezoid. The last one was a square and a circle. So you have to be able to piece together what you know about shapes to make this work. Now, sometimes though, for composite figures, ladies and gentlemen, it's not always where you have to add the two shapes together, okay? Let me give you an example that math teachers like to use a lot, okay? Pretend that that's a good circle. Okay, gonna be a little lenient. Okay, let's say they asked you to find the area of the blue part. And you'd say, that's crazy. They look kind of like triangles. These are supposed to be equal, but you know, I'm just like drawing a circle on the spot. You could say, well, those look like triangles, but we know they're not because they're curved and triangles have 3 straight lines. So you would go, what the heck? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So let's call this 6 yards. Okay. So you'd go, crap, how would I find the area of the blue? That's not a shape that we know. Well, I can compose that this was a square, subtract a circle. So if I find the area of the square and subtract the area of the circle, I'm taking all that circle away, I would have these 4 blue parts left. Aha! So even if it doesn't look like it's straightforward, it kind of is, okay? So the area of the square, I know that the area of a square is length squared. 6 times 6 is 36 yards squared. We always use our units, and it's in the second dimension because it's area. Minus the area of the circle. Now, circle's a little harder. Circle, the area of a circle is pi times the radius squared. They didn't give us any information on the circle. So how could we do this? Oh, wait, if this is 6, that means this is 6 yards. If all the way across the rectangle, or I'm sorry, the rectangle or square is 6, that means the diameter is 6. All the way across the circle is what's called a diameter. If I know the diameter is 6, then the radius has to be half of that. So the radius is 3. So I can say that the area is, we replace or substitute 3.14 for pi. That's what we're using as our estimate now. I can substitute 3 for the radius because if the diameter all the way across is 6, the radius is 3. Now I have to follow the order of operations. 3 times 3 is 9. Area equals 3.14 times 9. The number with more digits goes on top. Line up the last digit. 9 times 4 is 36. 9 times 1 is 9. Plus 3 is 12. 9 times 3 is 27. Plus 1 is 28. I need to move my decimal. Once, twice, none. Once, twice. Aha! The area of this circle was 28.26 yards squared. So in this composite figure, I was taking the square, subtracting the area of the circle to find the little blue shaded parts. So when I subtract, I line up the decimals. The first number has to go first. That's how subtraction works. And you have to line up the decimal. 0 minus 6 I can't do. I go to regroup. 0 minus 2 I can't do, so I regroup and make that 5 ones and 10 tenths. and make 10 tenths into 9 tenths and 10 hundredths. 10 minus 6 is 4, 9 minus 2 is 7, bring down the decimal. 5 minus 8 I cannot do, I regroup and make that 2, make that 5. 15 minus 8 is 7. 2 minus 2 is 0. So 7.74 yards squared is my final area for the blue shaded parts. I was able to do that by piecing together what I know. Okay, so I'm going to try to share my screen and show you guys. Let's see. Some of these get a little tough, but let's just talk these through. These are the ones for your homework today. This is a circle and a circle in it, but you want to find the shaded. So to find this blue shaded, I have to find the area of the whole circle and subtract the smaller circle. This one takes subtraction. For this one, this is a parallelogram. Subtract a square, because to find the green, I would have to subtract the white, and the white is this square, this 9 by 9. And you're given the base and the length, and you're given the height, so you can do it. This is a triangle. This is two triangles, or it's just a rectangle cut in half, or subtract a triangle. So this one I think would be easiest just to find the area of the whole thing and then divide it by 2. This one's very similar to one we did, a rectangle plus a half circle. This one's similar to what we did, a square with a trapezoid. And this one is a rectangle, and you have to take away 2 triangles. So these are all shapes we learned in our last lesson, so you just have to be able to piece it together. Good luck.